Ann Kalachi, LMS Curriculum Coordinator. She'll introduce the science team this evening. A couple months ago, this group presented to the Curriculum Council, and Mr. Campo suggested we bring the science update to the board this evening. You'll get a good glimpse of the changes that they've made during the past year based on the New Hampshire science frameworks that were adopted a couple summers ago. So I'll turn it over to Mrs. Kalachi.
I do want to introduce three of our most wonderful science teachers who volunteered their time again for the second time they did this presentation at C3 also. As Mark said, this is sort of an update for you as to where we are in our science curriculum. In the fall of 2006, New Hampshire implemented new frameworks. And in that framework implementation, one piece that changed was that the grade level spans were altered. Where they used to be the end of grade 6 and the end of grade 10, they now became much more specific. And in relation to the middle school, there's now a grade level span that's 5-6 and one that's 7-8. So with that in mind, we had to take a look at where we placed our curriculum grade to grade and alter our benchmarks. So that was our first job. At that point, we also created a consistent unit template, and teachers reviewed previously made curriculum and made decisions grade to grade as to whether we would purchase some or write our own. And we did both. In this case, you'll see examples of both of those. We also implemented the new science kneecap. This would be our first full counting year, I guess, of that. And then piloted the new program this year with the beginning of the writing of the common assessments. So with that being said, Rachel Christensen is one of our 6th grade teachers, Jessica Pear, one of our 7th, and Alicia Ronayne, one of our 8th. And we're going to show you what some of those changes were and some of the great student work that was a result of it. So if I can. Nope, wrong one, sorry. Sorry, that's the one that tells you about the, that one, right? Yep. The other one we can refer to, that's why we made the changes. Anybody want to use this? No.
Okay, so as Annie told you, during this 2007 school year, we had to go through our entire science benchmarks, and we had to align the New Hampshire state.
What,
I
the one?
really do have to use that. Sorry, okay.
One of the smaller ones up.
Oh,
Okay.
What it is, they can't hear you at home.
Oh,
They just get involved.
okay. So during the 2007 school year, we had to align the new New Hampshire state framework with the national benchmarks for science so that they intertwined with one another. So Rachel will talk about grade 6 first.
Okay, so 6th grade had a couple changes. One of the biggest things, sorry, I'm loud. One of the biggest changes was that we had 3 new units added. And we made these changes to better align with the state frameworks and also just to sort of tease out that 5 to 6 bandwidth so that we had the most appropriate things for our students. So the first thing was genetics, and what we did is we developed a hands-on project for this. Each student receives a dragon egg, and they have to birth their dragon. And inside of their dragon, they find chromosome strips. And what they have to do is match up the chromosomes to show the certain genotypes and phenotypes for their dragon. So they come up with a chart that shows us all of the genotypes as well as the phenotypes. And then they must actually create that dragon. And they have a couple different options. They can make a clay model. We also do a paper cutout model for those students that may have some learning differences. That clay might be a hard thing for them to do. And they also have the option of designing their own dragon. But it still has to have all of these phenotypic expressions. And the kids absolutely love this. They're really into dragons, so it works out great. Oh, go back one. The next thing that we changed is now we teach cells. And it's a really basic overview of cell parts and functions. And for this, what we decided to do was a challenge board, which is a 3x3 grid. And within that, students have 9 different project options. So it really touches on all of those different learning styles and allows the student to take a lot of student-directed learning while still hitting the same content. Couple different things that students came in with: a cell pie that describes all of the different parts of the cell, as well as detailed digital pictures that documented the making of the pie. And then another student came up with a cell storybook. That's a day in the life of a cell, and it's all of the different parts arguing over who is the most important part of a cell. A cell timeline, including the discovery of all the different organelles and the functions that they provide to cells, and the student also took the extra initiative to coordinate with the computers teacher and make it a PowerPoint as well. Cell posters. And this also included an annotation so that I knew that the student also knew the parts and wasn't just copying things. And last but not least, they could also make a model if they wanted. That also had to come along with some explanatory notes. And we also incorporated sound as a more teased out part of our curriculum. And one of the things that we did during our summer curriculum days was to build palm pipes. Doug Stiff has a workshop, and he is great, so we made all of our own stuff instead of ordering it. So we got some PVC pipe, and we just cut it to different lengths, which changes the pitch. Then students have to tell us what's vibrating to make the sound, and explain the relationship between wavelength, frequency, and pitch. Part of the culminating project is to play a song and explain why different songs sound different. So we took a day, made some palm pipes, they're color-coded to help the students, and it's really a lot of fun, and the kids really enjoy it. The one thing we did lose from our curriculum is ecosystems, and that moved to 7th grade.
Which is where I come in. I got this, I'm good. So what we did in the 7th grade in order to take ecosystems into our realm is to buy a kit that was already put together, and we took the FOSS kit called Populations and Ecosystems, which actually lets us investigate with live materials. And so the kids use milkweed bugs, and they also use guppies and elodia and a bunch of other live materials, and we make terrariums and aquariums, and we also investigate with milkweed bugs to talk about populations as they are in our classrooms, which is really neat. And I actually still have some living material, and we are trying our best. We all do, actually. We're trying our best to try and continue the population of those things throughout the school year so that we don't have to replenish those through the company. Milkweed bugs are really tough to keep throughout the school year, but the guppies, they really enjoy continuing populating on their own. So this is a terrific kit. We've actually enjoyed this tremendously. The four of us have worked really well together, and if you're interested in looking at the kit, you're welcome to do that. The other, and we also have a textbook that accompanies that, that has leveled reading in it, so that works well for all students. Astronomy is another unit that we took, and we talk about Earth, Sun, Moon relationships. And the great thing about that is that we can go to the internet, like I talked yesterday even about astronomy, so we can, because it's something that changes constantly. I told the kids about Buzz Lightyear going to space, if anybody didn't know that. Seriously, he's in space. Look it up on NASA.
I saw it on CNN.
Okay, well,
Right.
you know I'm being serious then. We have to talk about gravity in the solar system. We have a Glencoe astronomy book that's brand new, and they actually just sent us the supplement since Pluto got downgraded to a dwarf. with Snow White and his fellows. And we also have some GEM lab modules, and then we have incorporated a bunch of our own materials as well. And then this year, with the help of Paula Chesson and her sister, who teaches at the University of Mississippi,